The cold is a physical thing, a creature with teeth that gnaws at the bones. It sinks into my worn coat, through the thin soles of my boots, a relentless predator hunting me and my children through the blizzard-choked streets of Boston. Every gust of wind is a slap, stealing what little warmth we have left. Snowflakes, thick as moths, plaster themselves to our faces, melting into icy tears on our lashes. "Mommy, I'm cold." Maya's voice is a tiny, chattering whisper against my hip. My little girl, only 5 years old, her face a pale, pinched oval swallowed by the hood of her pink parka. "I know, sweetie. I know." My own words feel frozen, brittle in the air. Liam, my brave 8-year-old, says nothing. He just tightens his grip on my free hand, his small knuckles white. He's trying to be the man of our broken family, a weight no child should ever have to bear. His silence screams louder than Maya's complaints. He's scared. And when Liam is scared, I know we are in real trouble. The shelter had a sign taped to the glass door. Full. The word was a death sentence written in black marker. We'd been walking for hours since then, the city's indifferent lights blurring behind the swirling curtain of white. Hope has dwindled to a tiny, flickering ember in my chest, and I feel it dying with every step. We are invisible ghosts in a city of millions. Our plight just another sad story swallowed by the storm. We turn a corner onto a street I don't recognize, a quiet, moneyed lane in Beacon Hill where the townhouses stand like silent, decorated soldiers. They are fortresses of warmth and wealth, their windows glowing with the soft, golden light of Christmas trees and happy families. The scent of wood smoke teases from a chimney, a cruel reminder of the comfort we can't have. It feels like another world, a life I can only press my face against the glass to see. Then I see it. One townhouse, a behemoth of dark brick and wrought iron, has a single light on in a ground floor window. It isn't the warm, inviting glow of the others. It's a stark, clinical white light, slicing through the gloom. There's no wreath on the door, no festive cheer. It looks cold, uninviting. But it's a light. It's a sign of life. Desperation is a powerful, reckless engine. It pushes aside pride, fear, and common sense. I look at Maya, whose lips are tinged with a frightening shade of blue. I look at Liam, whose stoic facade is beginning to crack, his shoulders trembling. My own shivering is uncontrollable now. We can't stay out here. We'll freeze before morning. "Stay right here," I tell them, my voice cracking. I lead them up the 3 stone steps, huddling them into the small alcove of the doorway where the wind is slightly less vicious. Their small bodies press against me, seeking a warmth I no longer possess. My hand is numb, a useless club at the end of my arm. I raise it and knock. The sound is pathetic, a feeble tap, tap, tap swallowed by the howling wind. I wait. Nothing. Of course, nothing. What did I expect? I'm about to turn away, to gather my children and stumble back into the frozen hell of the streets, when I hear it. A heavy metallic click. The sound of a bolt being drawn. The door swings inward without a sound, impossibly smooth for its size. The man who stands there is an extension of the night, all sharp angles and shadows. He's tall, impossibly so, his shoulders filling the entire frame. He wears a simple black sweater that does nothing to hide the solid muscle beneath. His face is carved from stone, handsome in a severe, unforgiving way. Dark hair, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes. His eyes are the color of a winter sky just before the snow, a pale, piercing gray that see everything and reveal nothing. He says nothing. He just looks at me, his gaze sweeping over my bedraggled form, then down to the 2 small figures clinging to my legs. There is no surprise in his expression, no pity, no curiosity. There is only a profound, unnerving stillness. The air crackles with it. This is a mistake. A terrible, terrible mistake. This is not a man you bother. This is a man you run from. The name floats up from the dregs of memory, a headline whispered in a coffee shop, a name spoken with a mixture of fear and reverence on the local news. Leon Voss, the phantom who owns the city's underworld, the Mafia boss who rules Boston from the shadows. My blood runs cold, a feat I hadn't thought possible. I feel the last of my courage evaporate, leaving behind a hollow cavern of pure terror. "I'm sorry," I stammer, the words tumbling out in a rush. I start pulling my kids back, away from the doorway, away from him. I'm so sorry to bother you. We just needed somewhere warm for a minute. The shelter was full. I saw your light." His gray eyes don't leave mine, but I feel their focus shift, sharpening. He looks at Liam, then at Maya. He studies their small, frozen faces, the way their breath plumes in the frigid air. An eternity seems to pass in that silent assessment. The wind howls, a mournful cry in the space between us. Then, the unthinkable happens. He steps aside, leaving the doorway clear. The movement is fluid, economical. A river of warm, dry air, scented with something clean and spicy like cloves and old wood, spills out into the night, wrapping around us like a blanket. "Come in," he says. His voice is low, a deep rumble that seems to vibrate in my very bones. It's not a question. It's not an invitation. It's a command, spoken with the quiet, absolute authority of a king. I hesitate for a heartbeat, my mind screaming at me to run. Run and take your chances with the cold. But then Maya lets out a tiny hiccuping sob, and my choice is gone. I have no choice. I never did. Nodding dumbly, I shuffle my children over the threshold, from the biting cold into the lion's den. The heavy door clicks shut behind us, the sound definitive, final. It's the sound of a key turning in a lock, the sound of a cage door closing. That was the moment I, Nora Sullivan, realized the most dangerous man in Boston had just opened his door to a desperate woman and her 2 children. And in doing so, had trapped us more completely than any storm ever could. The foyer is vast and silent. The floor is black and white marble, polished to a mirror shine, reflecting the cold, recessed lighting from a ceiling so high it seems to disappear into shadow. There are no pictures on the stark white walls, no clutter, no sign that a human being actually lives here. It's less a home and more a mausoleum. A beautiful, empty, cold mausoleum. Leon Voss stands by the door, watching us drip melting snow onto his perfect floor. I quickly try to herd the kids onto the small welcome mat, as if that small gesture could contain the mess we are, the chaos we've brought into his pristine world. Thank you, I manage to say, my voice still shaky. I can't bring myself to look at him directly. I focus on a point somewhere over his shoulder. We won't stay long, just until the worst of the storm passes. "Take off your coats," he says, his voice still that same unnerving monotone. He moves towards a closet I hadn't noticed, the door seamlessly integrated into the wall. He opens it, revealing a long row of dark, expensive-looking coats. Our own pathetic soaked outerwear will look like rags in there. I help Liam and Maya out of their wet things. Their small bodies are trembling violently now that the adrenaline is wearing off. Maya's teeth are chattering so hard I can hear them click together. Fear coils in my stomach again, colder and sharper than the wind outside. What if she's getting sick? Hypothermia. The word flashes in my mind like a neon warning sign. Leon takes the wet coats from my hands without a word. Our fingers brush for a fraction of a second. His skin is warm, shockingly so. A jolt, like a static shock, travels up my arm. I snatch my hand back as if I've been burned. He gives no indication that he noticed, simply hanging our dripping coats in his immaculate closet, far from his own. Segregated. "They are cold," he states, looking at the children. It's an observation, not a question. "Yes," I whisper. "We were outside for a long time." He turns and walks away from us, down the long, echoing hall. He doesn't look back to see if we're following. He just expects us to. And we do. Like lost lambs following a black wolf, we trail behind him. My children press so close to my legs I nearly trip over them with every step. He leads us into a room that can only be described as a library. Floor-to-ceiling shelves packed with leather-bound books line every wall. A massive fireplace, carved from dark gray stone, dominates one side of the room. A fire is already laid, waiting. With a remote he plucks from a heavy oak desk, he clicks a button. Instantly, flames leap to life, whispering and crackling, throwing dancing shadows across the room. The warmth is instantaneous and glorious. Maya makes a small noise of pleasure and takes a tentative step towards the hearth. "Go on," I murmur, giving her a gentle push. "Go get warm." Both kids scurry towards the fire, holding their hands out to the flames as if in worship. I stay back, lingering by the doorway, still feeling like an intruder. This room smells of leather, old paper, and that same spicy scent I noticed before. His scent. It's everywhere. "Sit," he says, gesturing to a pair of large leather armchairs flanking the fireplace. I guide the kids into one, and they curl up together, their small forms dwarfed by the massive chair. I remain standing. Sitting feels too permanent, too much like accepting a hospitality I have no right to. Leon Voss watches me, his gray eyes unreadable. He hasn't smiled. His expression hasn't changed at all. He is a statue of controlled power. "I will have Mrs. Croft bring some blankets and hot chocolate," he says. He pulls a sleek black phone from his pocket and types a short, curt message. There's no reply, but a few minutes later, a woman appears in the doorway. She's older, with kind eyes and hair the color of salt and pepper pulled into a neat bun. She wears a simple gray dress and an apron. She carries a stack of plush cashmere blankets and a tray with 3 steaming mugs. She doesn't look at Leon. Her gaze goes straight to me and the children, and her expression softens with a pity that is both comforting and deeply humiliating. "Oh, you poor things," she says softly, her voice warm and accented. She sets the tray down on a low table. "Come now, let's get you warm." She wraps a blanket around Liam and Maya, tucking it in around them. They snuggle into the impossibly soft fabric, their eyes already drooping. She hands them each a mug of hot chocolate. The rich, sweet smell fills the air. Then she turns to me, offering me the 3rd mug and the last blanket. "Here, dear, you look like you need this most of all." "Thank you," I say, my voice thick with unshed tears. I take the mug, my frozen fingers fumbling around its warmth. The heat seeps into my skin, a painful pins and needles sensation. "I am Elena," she says, giving me a small, reassuring smile. "You are safe here." I look from her kind face to the formidable man standing silently in the shadows near the desk. Safe? I have never felt less safe in my entire life. Elena seems to understand my hesitation. She gives a subtle, almost imperceptible nod towards Leon. "The master has a soft spot for those caught in the storm." Her words are chosen carefully, but the implication is clear. This has happened before. Leon says nothing, his face a mask. After ensuring we are settled, Elena gives a small curtsy in his direction and disappears as silently as she arrived. We are alone with him again. The silence stretches, broken only by the crackle of the fire and the soft sounds of my children sipping their cocoa. I take a sip from my own mug. It's the richest, most decadent hot chocolate I have ever tasted. It feels wrong to enjoy it. "What is your name?" he asks abruptly. The question startles me. Nora Sullivan. "And the children?" "Liam and Maya." He nods slowly, as if committing the names to memory. "You have nowhere else to go." Another statement, not a question. He already knows the answer. "No," I admit, shame burning in my throat. Our situation is temporary." It's a lie, and we both know it. My situation is a free fall, with no bottom in sight. A dead-end job I lost, a cheating husband who cleaned out our bank account and vanished, an eviction notice. A cascade of failures that has led me here, to the mercy of a monster. He doesn't call me on the lie. He just watches me over the rim of a glass of amber liquid he's poured for himself from a crystal decanter on his desk. The storm is not expected to break until morning. Possibly later. You will stay here. We can't impose, I begin, the protest automatic, meaningless. It is not an imposition. He cuts me off, his voice flat. It is a fact. The streets are not safe. The irony is so thick I could choke on it. The streets are not safe, he says, as if he isn't the reason so many of them aren't. I look at my children. Liam has fallen asleep, his head resting on Maya's shoulder. Maya's eyes are fluttering closed, her small body finally succumbing to warmth and exhaustion. They are safe, for now. That's all that matters. Thank you, Mr. Voss, I say quietly, forcing myself to meet his gaze. A flicker of something, annoyance, surprise, crosses his face at the use of his name. It's gone in an instant. Leon, he corrects, his voice a low growl. Leon. Just Leon. As if we are acquaintances. As if this is normal. Leon, I repeat, the name feeling foreign and dangerous on my tongue. He gives a single sharp nod. He drains his glass in one swallow, sets it down with a soft click, and walks towards the door. Elena will show you to a room, he says, his back to me. Do not leave it. And then he is gone, leaving me and my sleeping children in his silent, book-lined cage, the firelight dancing on the walls, making the shadows writhe like living things. I wrap the blanket tighter around myself, but I know it's not the cold I'm shivering from anymore. It's fear, and something else. Something I am terrified to name. Elena returns a short while later, her face etched with a gentle sympathy that makes my own forced composure crumble. She helps me carry the sleeping children. Liam is a dead weight in my arms, his lanky limbs sprawling. Elena easily lifts Maya, who curls into her shoulder with a sleepy sigh. The master can be intimidating, Elena says softly as we ascend a grand, sweeping staircase. A plush runner dampens our footsteps. But he is not a bad man. I want to laugh. A man whose name is synonymous with violence and crime, not a bad man. But I say nothing. I am a guest, a beggar in his kingdom. I have no right to an opinion. She leads us to a guest room that is larger than my entire former apartment. A massive four-poster bed with crisp white linens dominates the space. There's an ensuite bathroom with a clawfoot tub and more fluffy white towels than I've ever seen in one place. It is a room designed for comfort, yet it feels as sterile and impersonal as the rest of the house. We gently lay the children on the bed. Elena pulls the duvet up to their chins, her movements practiced and tender. There are clothes in the closet, she says, gesturing to a walk-in closet. Pajamas, and some things for tomorrow. They should fit well enough, and for you as well. The master anticipated. She trails off, then seems to think better of it. There is food in the small fridge if you are hungry. Please get some rest. She hesitates at the door. He has not had children in this house before. Her voice is barely a whisper. It is good. Then she is gone, leaving me alone in the silent, opulent room. The only sound is the gentle breathing of my children. I check the closet. She was right. It's stocked with new clothes, tags still on. Simple, comfortable sleepwear for the kids, and for me, a set of silk pajamas and a thick, soft robe. It's unnerving, this preparedness, as if he knew we were coming. But that's impossible. I take a quick, hot shower in the marble bathroom, washing away the grime and the cold of the streets. The water pressure is a luxury. The soap smells of lavender and chamomile. I put on the silk pajamas. They feel alien against my skin, too fine, too rich. I am a crow dressed in a dove's feathers. I climb into the enormous bed next to my children, pulling them close. They smell of soap and hot chocolate and innocence. I breathe them in, a desperate anchor in this strange, terrifying new reality. I should be grateful. I am grateful. But gratitude is tangled with a primal fear that keeps me wide awake. Leon Voss. I turn the name over and over in my mind. He gave us shelter. He gave us warmth, food, clothing. He protected us from the storm. But I know, with a certainty that chills me to the core, that there will be a price. There is always a price with men like him, and I have nothing left to pay with. Nothing but myself. The thought is a cold stone in the pit of my stomach. I lie awake for hours, listening to the muffled howl of the wind outside the thick, soundproof windows, and wonder what I have done. What storm have I brought my children into that is worse than the one I saved them from? Morning comes not with sunlight, but with a quiet, gray luminescence that filters through the heavy curtains. The storm has lessened, the wind no longer a raging beast, but a low, mournful sigh. I slept in fits and starts, jolted awake by the unfamiliar silence of the house and the phantoms of my own anxieties. Liam and Maya are still sleeping soundly, their faces relaxed and peaceful for the first time in weeks. They are warm. They are safe. I cling to that thought like a rosary. It's the only thing keeping the panic at bay. I slip out of bed and tiptoe to the window, pulling back a corner of the thick velvet curtain. The world outside is buried in white. A pristine, untouched blanket of snow covers everything, muffling the city into a surreal stillness. It's beautiful and treacherous. A perfect metaphor for this house. A soft knock on the door makes me jump. I pull the gifted robe tighter around myself, my heart hammering against my ribs. "Come in," I call out, my voice a croak. The door opens and Elena enters, carrying another tray. This one holds a pot of coffee, a pitcher of orange juice, and a plate of pastries that look like they belong in a magazine. The smell of coffee is divine, a promise of civilization. "Good morning," she says with her warm smile. "I thought you might like this. The children are still sleeping?" "Yes. Thank you, Elena. You don't have to—" "Nonsense," she says, setting the tray on a small table by the window. "It is my job to take care of the master's guests." Guests. The word hangs in the air between us. I am not a guest. I am a refugee, a charity case. She pours me a cup of coffee, her movements efficient. "Mr. Leon is in his office. He said you are not to be disturbed, but that when you are ready, he would like a word." There it is. The summons, the bill coming due. My stomach clenches. "Of course," I say, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'll just get myself and the children ready." "Take your time, dear," she says, her kind eyes full of an understanding that makes me want to weep. There is no rush. After she leaves, I drink the coffee, letting the bitter heat fortify me. I eat a pastry that is flaky and buttery and tastes of ash in my mouth. I dress in the clothes that were left for me, a simple pair of black trousers and a soft, gray cashmere sweater. They fit perfectly. The thought is more unsettling than comforting. I wake the children gently. They are groggy and disoriented at first, looking around the unfamiliar room with wide eyes. "Where are we, Mommy?" Liam asks, his voice thick with sleep. "We're in a safe place, sweetie," I say, forcing a brightness I don't feel. "A kind man let us stay here last night to get out of the storm." Maya just snuggles deeper into the pillows. "It's soft," she murmurs. I get them dressed in the new clothes from the closet, jeans and warm sweaters that, like mine, fit them surprisingly well. They are excited about the new clothes, a simple childhood pleasure that twists my heart. It's been so long since I could afford to buy them anything new. Once we are all dressed and have eaten, I take a deep breath. It's time. I can't hide in this room forever. Holding each of my children's hands, I open the door and lead them out into the silent hallway. The house is even more intimidating in the daylight. The scale of it is obscene. It's all clean lines, expensive materials, and empty space. There is no warmth, no personality, save for the library. It feels like a museum dedicated to the concept of wealth. I have no idea where his office is. We wander aimlessly for a few minutes until we hear the low murmur of a voice. We follow the sound back to the ground floor, to a set of tall, dark wood doors just off the main foyer. One of them is slightly ajar. I pause outside, my courage failing me. I can hear him speaking. His voice is low, but the tone is unmistakable. It's cold, hard, and lethal. And if he ever shows his face in this city again, you have my permission to remove it. Is that understood? A pause. I can't hear the other side of the conversation. Good. The single word is a death knell. The line clicks dead. I freeze, my hand hovering over the door handle. My blood turns to ice. Remove his face. The words echo in the silent hallway, in the silent chambers of my heart. This is who he is. This is the man who holds our lives in his hands. I should turn around. I should grab my children and run out the front door, back into the snow. But where would we go? We are trapped. Taking a shaky breath, I push the door open. Leon is sitting behind a desk the size of my old dining table. The office is as stark and modern as the rest of the house, a stark contrast to the old world library. A wall of windows behind him shows the snow-covered garden, the city skyline a jagged silhouette in the distance. He's on the phone again, or was. He looks up as we enter, his gray eyes pinning me in place. "Nora Sullivan," he says, his voice reverting to that neutral, unreadable tone he used with me last night. "And Liam and Maya. Good morning." "Good morning," I manage. I push the children slightly behind me, a pathetic and instinctive gesture of protection. He gestures to the chairs in front of his desk. "Please, sit." I sit, perching on the edge of the chair. The kids press close to me, intimidated by the room and the man. He steeples his fingers, his gaze intense. "I have had my people look into your situation." Of course he has. I feel a hot flush of shame. He knows everything. He knows about my ex-husband, Mark, the gambling debts, the eviction. He knows I am a failure. "The apartment you were evicted from is no longer an option. The landlord has already rented it out. Your husband, Mark, appears to have left the state. He cleared your joint bank account and has a considerable amount of debt with unsavory individuals." He says the words unsavory individuals, with a hint of dry irony, as if he is not the king of them. "I see," I whisper, my eyes on the floor. There is nothing to say. He has laid my pathetic life bare in a few concise sentences. The shelters are full and will remain so for the foreseeable future. The city is not equipped to handle this level of crisis. You have no family in the area to turn to. You have, as they say, no options. His words are brutal, clinical, and true. Each one is a nail in my coffin. "So what now?" I ask, my voice barely audible. "Do you throw us back out on the street?" His eyes narrow slightly. "I do not engage in pointless acts. Throwing you out would be pointless. You would not survive." A sliver of hope, fragile and terrifying, begins to dawn. "I have a proposition for you, Nora," he says, leaning forward. The movement is predatory, and I instinctively lean back. "A proposition?" "I am in need of something. Something that, it appears, you are uniquely qualified to provide." My mind races. What could I possibly have that this man needs? My body? The thought makes me sick, but I brace myself for it. "I require a family." The words are so unexpected, I'm sure I've misheard him. I don't understand." "It is a matter of business," he says, waving a hand dismissively. "Optics. I am approaching a new venture, a more legitimate one. My partners in this venture are traditional. They value stability, family. A man in my position, a single man with my reputation, makes them nervous." He stands and walks to the window, looking out at his frozen kingdom. A wife and children, however, that projects an image of reliability, of being grounded. It softens the edges. I stare at his back, my mind reeling. Is he serious? This is insane. "You're not—" "I am proposing a contract," he says, turning back to face me. His face is deadly serious. "You and your children will live here, In this house, you will act as my fiancée, and later, my wife. The children will be treated as my own. In return, you will have a roof over your head. You will have safety, security, and more money than you could ever spend. Your children will have the best of everything: schools, clothes, a future. I am speechless. I can only stare at him, my mouth agape. This is a business arrangement, Nora. Nothing more. My private life will remain my private life. Yours as well, within reason. We will present a united front to the world. In this house, we will be associates. You want to buy a family? I ask, the words incredulous. You want to rent my children and me as props for your business deal? I am offering you a lifeline, he counters, his voice sharp. I am offering you a way out of an impossible situation. The alternative is the street. Do not fool yourself into believing there is another option. He's right, and that's the most terrifying part. He's absolutely right. What about my kids? I ask, my voice trembling. What happens to them in this arrangement? They're not props, Leon. They're children. For the first time, his expression softens, just for a moment. His gaze drifts to where Liam and Maya are huddled against my side. They will be safe, he says, and his voice holds a note of something I can't identify. A promise. I will not allow any harm to come to them. They will have a better life than you could ever give them. The words are a slap, but they are also true, and it breaks my heart. You will have everything you need, he continues, pressing his advantage. A generous allowance, freedom to do as you please, as long as it does not compromise the arrangement. All I ask for in return is your discretion and your performance. It's a deal with the devil, a golden cage, but the alternative is a frozen grave. I look at Liam, who is watching Leon with a wary intelligence that is far too old for his years. I look at Maya, who is absently stroking the soft fabric of my new sweater, oblivious to the life-altering negotiation happening above her head. I have no choice. He has taken all my choices away and left me with only one. What are the rules? I ask, my voice flat, defeated. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. It is not a pleasant sight. It is the smile of a predator who has successfully cornered its prey. The rules are simple, he says, returning to his desk. You will do as I say. You will not question my authority in this house. You will not attempt to leave without my permission. And you will never, ever lie to me. He slides a thick document and a pen across the desk. My lawyers have drawn up a contract. It is thorough. It outlines my obligations to you and yours to me. Read it, sign it, and your new life begins. I don't read it. What's the point? The terms are irrelevant. I pick up the pen. The weight of it is immense. With a hand that is surprisingly steady, I sign my name. Nora Sullivan. I sign away my life, my freedom, my very self, for the safety of my children. As the ink dries, I look up and meet his gaze. His gray eyes are triumphant. Welcome home, Nora, he says. The days that follow are a surreal blend of luxury and confinement. We live in a gilded cage, every need met before we can even voice it. But the bars are always there, unspoken but unyielding. Elena is our primary point of contact. She brings us meals, helps me get the children settled into a routine, and answers my questions with a careful, practiced discretion. Leon is a phantom. He leaves early in the morning, before we are awake, and returns late at night, long after I've put the children to bed. Some days, I don't see him at all. I only know he's been home by the scent of his cologne in the hallway, or the faint sound of his voice from his office. He is a ghost in his own house, a powerful, brooding presence that I feel in every corner. The house itself is a labyrinth. I spend hours exploring it while the kids are occupied with the mountain of new toys and books that have magically appeared for them. Every room is perfectly decorated, impeccably clean, and utterly devoid of personality. It is the home of a man who does not live, but merely exists within its walls. Only the library feels real, lived in. I find myself drawn to it, running my fingers over the spines of the old books, breathing in the scent of paper and leather. It's the only room that feels like it has a soul. One afternoon, about a week into our strange new life, I am in the library with Maya. She is sitting on the floor, happily coloring in a new coloring book while I browse the shelves. I pull out a heavy volume of poetry, Keats. It was my mother's favorite. As I open it, a small dried flower falls from the pages. A pressed edelweiss. It was my mother's. Leon's voice makes me jump, and I nearly drop the book. I whirl around. He's standing in the doorway watching me. It's the middle of the afternoon. He's never home this early. I'm sorry, I say, quickly trying to place the flower back in the book. I didn't mean to pry. You are not prying, he says, walking into the room. He moves with a quiet grace that is at odds with his size. That book is one of the few things I have of hers. He stops a few feet away from me. He's wearing a tailored suit, but he's loosened his tie, and the top button of his shirt is undone. He looks tired. There are faint shadows under his eyes. She loved poetry, he says, his voice softer than I've ever heard it. She said it was the only language that could speak the truth of the heart. I look from his face to the book in my hands. A mother who loved poetry. It's such a human detail, so at odds with the ruthless monster I've built up in my mind. She must have been a wonderful woman, I say quietly. She was, he says, and for a fleeting moment, a shadow of pain crosses his face. It's so quick I think I might have imagined it. But it was there, a crack in the marble facade. Maya, who has been oblivious to our conversation, suddenly looks up. Look, she says, holding up her drawing. It's a riot of color, a child's abstract masterpiece. She has drawn a picture of our new family, a small stick figure for herself, a taller one for Liam, a taller one with a triangle dress for me, and a very, very tall stick figure next to me. The Lion Man, she calls him. She gets up and toddles over to Leon, holding the picture up to him. It's for you, she says. I hold my breath. I have no idea how he will react. Children are messy, unpredictable. They don't fit into his clean, orderly world. Leon looks down at Maya, then at the drawing she is offering him. He hesitates for a moment, and I see a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. Then he crouches down, bringing himself to her level. It is a startling sight, this powerful, dangerous man making himself small for my daughter. Thank you, Maya, he says, his voice a low rumble. He takes the drawing from her, his large, calloused hand gentle as it accepts the flimsy piece of paper. He studies it with a seriousness that is almost comical. It is a very fine drawing. I will put it in a place of honor. Maya beams, her mission accomplished, and runs back to her coloring book. Leon straightens up, the drawing still in his hand. He looks at me, and his eyes are different. The icy wall is gone, replaced by something warmer, more complex. She is not afraid of me, he observes, his voice quiet. She is 5, I reply. She doesn't know to be. And you? He asks, his gaze pinning me. Are you still afraid of me, Nora? The question hangs in the air between us, heavy and real. Am I still afraid of him? Yes. Of course I am. I'm terrified of him. But the fear is changing. It's no longer the simple, primal fear of a predator. It's becoming something more complicated. It's mixed with curiosity, with a reluctant gratitude, and now, with a sliver of something else, something I am not ready to examine too closely. I don't know what to be. I answer honestly. He gives a slow nod, as if my answer satisfies him. He carefully folds Maya's drawing and tucks it into the inside pocket of his suit jacket, over his heart. There is a gala next week, he says, the change of subject abrupt. A charity event for the hospital. We will be attending, together. My stomach plummets. A gala? It is time for Boston to meet my fiancé, he says, his voice back to its usual commanding tone. Elena will arrange for a dress. You will be beautiful. You will be charming. You will be mine. The last word is a brand, a claim. He turns and leaves the library, leaving me with the ghost of his mother's memory and the chilling promise of our public debut. The performance is about to begin. The week leading up to the gala is a whirlwind of preparations. Stylists, hairdressers, and makeup artists appear at the house, a small army summoned by Elena to transform me into someone worthy of standing beside Leon Voss. They poke, prod, and primp me, chattering about necklines and updos while I sit like a doll, numb and disconnected. The dress arrives in a box so large it requires 2 men to carry it. It's a deep emerald green, the color of envy and money. The silk whispers as I touch it. It's a couture gown, something I've only ever seen in magazines. When I try it on, it fits like a second skin. It's beautiful, elegant, and completely alien. The woman in the mirror is a stranger, a polished, glamorous creature with my eyes. Leon is absent for all of this. He is a shadowy benefactor, pulling the strings from offstage. I am his Galatea, and he is a very patient Pygmalion. The night of the gala, the house is buzzing with a nervous energy. I am a wreck, my stomach a knot of anxiety. Elena helps me dress, her calm presence a small comfort. "You look breathtaking, dear," she says, zipping up the back of the gown. "I look like I'm playing dress-up," I say, my voice tight. "All women are playing a part, Nora," she says sagely, her eyes meeting mine in the mirror. "The trick is to choose a role you can live with." When I am finally ready, I go downstairs. Leon is waiting for me at the bottom of the staircase. He is wearing a black tuxedo that has been tailored to perfection. He looks like a dark prince, impossibly handsome and lethally dangerous. He watches me descend the stairs, his face unreadable. As I reach the bottom step, he holds out his hand. I place my trembling hand in his. His grip is firm, warm. "You look acceptable," he says, his voice a low growl. From anyone else, it would be an insult. From Leon, I suspect it is the highest of compliments. A flicker of something that might be a smile touches his lips. "Do not be nervous, Nora. You are with me. No one will dare to cause you any trouble." His words are meant to be reassuring, but they only serve to remind me of who he is, of the power he wields. I am not just Nora Sullivan tonight. I am Leon Voss's woman, and that is a shield and a target all at once. The gala is held in a grand ballroom overflowing with the city's elite. The air is thick with perfume, power, and the murmur of polite, predatory conversation. Chandeliers drip crystal tears from the ceiling. Waiters weave through the crowd with trays of champagne. The moment we enter, a hush falls over the room. All eyes turn to us, to him, and then to me. I can feel their gazes on me, dissecting, judging. Who is this woman with Leon Voss? Where did she come from? Leon seems oblivious to the stir we are causing. He guides me through the crowd with a possessive hand on the small of my back, a silent proclamation of ownership. He nods to a few people, ignores most, his face a mask of cool indifference. He leads me to a small, secluded table. "I have business to attend to," he says. "Stay here, speak to no one." And then he is gone, swallowed by the crowd, leaving me alone at the table like a prize left on display. I sip my water, my hands clenched in my lap, feeling like a fraud. A few minutes later, a woman approaches my table. She is tall, blonde, and stunningly beautiful in a red dress that leaves little to the imagination. She moves with the languid confidence of a panther. "Well, well," she says, her voice a purr. "So, you're the new charity case." She doesn't wait for an invitation, but slides into the chair opposite me. She signals a waiter and takes a glass of champagne. "I'm Isabella Rossi," she says, her eyes, the color of cold jade, raking over me with disdain. "And you must be the nanny." I recognize the name, Isabella Rossi. Her father, a rival of Leon's, had been removed from the picture years ago. Rumor had it that Leon had taken over his territory and his mistress. "I'm Nora," I say, my voice steadier than I feel. "Leon's fiancée." Isabella throws her head back and laughs, a sharp, unpleasant sound. Fiancé? Oh, darling, is that what he's calling it these days? How quaint. She leans forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Let me give you a little piece of advice. Enjoy the clothes, the house, the money. But don't for a second think you mean anything to him. You are a convenience, a placeholder. When he gets what he wants, he will discard you like he does everyone else. Her words are like venom, sinking into my skin, feeding the doubts and fears that are already festering inside me. He doesn't love you, she continues, her smile cruel. Leon isn't capable of love. He is a black hole. He consumes everything and everyone around him. He consumed my father. He consumed me. And he will consume you too. I think you should leave, I say, my voice shaking slightly. Oh, I'm not going anywhere, she says, taking a sip of her champagne. This is far too entertaining. Is there a problem here? Leon's voice cuts through the air like a whip. He is standing behind Isabella's chair, his face a thundercloud. He appeared so silently, I didn't even see him approach. Isabella's smug expression falters. A flicker of fear enters her eyes. Leon, darling, she purrs, trying to recover. I was just welcoming your little friend. Isabella, Leon says, his voice dangerously soft. I believe you were just leaving. It is not a request. It is an order. For a moment she hesitates, defiance warring with fear in her eyes. Then, she seems to think better of it. She stands, smoothing down her dress. Of course, she says, forcing a smile. She leans down and whispers in my ear, her breath hot and smelling of champagne. Don't say I didn't warn you. Then she turns and saunters away, swallowed by the crowd. Leon sits down in the chair she has vacated. He says nothing, but the anger radiating from him is a palpable force. What did she say to you? He demands, his jaw tight. Nothing, I lie, just welcoming me to the club. He knows I'm lying. His gray eyes narrow, searching my face. I told you not to speak to anyone. She came to me, I retort, a spark of anger cutting through my fear. Am I not allowed to be spoken to, either? What am I? A doll you keep on a shelf until you want to play. The words are out before I can stop them. I expect him to be furious. I expect him to put me in my place, to remind me of the terms of our contract. Instead, a strange look crosses his face. His anger seems to recede, replaced by something else. Something that looks almost like respect. No, Nora, he says, his voice quiet. You are not a doll. He reaches across the table and takes my hand. His thumb gently strokes the back of my knuckles. The simple gesture is shockingly intimate. The entire ballroom, with its noise and its people, seems to fade away. There is only the two of us, in our own little bubble of silence. Isabella is a part of my past, he says, his voice low. A past I am trying to move away from. You are my future. I look into his eyes, searching for the truth. Is he just playing his part? Is this just another line in the script he has written for us? Or does he actually mean it? I don't know how to do this, Leon, I whisper, my voice raw with vulnerability. You are doing fine, he says, his grip on my hand tightening slightly. Just stay by my side and trust no one but me. But how can I trust him? How can I trust a man who lives in a world of shadows and lies? A man who buys a family as a business accessory? He stands, pulling me to my feet. Let's dance, he says. He leads me to the dance floor. He pulls me into his arms, his hand firm on my back, holding me closer than is strictly proper. The orchestra is playing a slow, mournful waltz. We move together in silence, two strangers bound by a contract performing for an audience of sharks. His body is warm and solid against mine. I can feel the hard muscle of his chest, the steady beat of his heart under my hand. I rest my head against his shoulder, breathing in his scent, a heady mix of cloves, wool, and power. For a few moments, I allow myself to pretend. I pretend that this is real, that he is a man who loves me, and I am a woman who is safe in his arms. It is a dangerous, intoxicating fantasy. You were right, I murmur against his chest. About what? He asks, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through me. I shouldn't have spoken to her. I pause, then add, she said you're not capable of love. He stiffens for a moment, then relaxes. He doesn't deny it. Love is a liability, Nora, he says, his voice flat. A weakness your enemies can exploit. I cannot afford weaknesses. He looks down at me, his gray eyes dark and intense. But I can afford to protect what is mine, and you, Nora Sullivan, are mine. The music ends, but he doesn't let me go. We stand in the middle of the dance floor, locked in our own world, the whispers and stares of the Boston elite just background noise. He is a black hole, Isabella had said. He consumes everything. And as I look up into his cold, beautiful face, I realize with a terrifying clarity that I am already caught in his gravity, and I am not sure I want to escape. The night of the gala marks a subtle but significant shift in our arrangement. Leon is home more often. He no longer disappears before dawn. He has breakfast with us, a strange, formal affair at the massive dining table. He sits at one end, I sit at the other, with the children between us like a buffer zone. He reads his newspaper, I drink my coffee, and the kids chatter, their innocent conversation the only thing filling the cavernous silence. He makes an effort, in his own way. He asks Liam about the new science kit he's been playing with. He compliments Maya on her ever-growing collection of drawings. He is learning to be a father, or at least, how to play the part of one. And the children, in their guileless way, are starting to accept him. Liam, who was so wary at first, has started to ask him questions, his curiosity overriding his fear. And Maya has taken to calling him Leon the Lion, a nickname that makes the corners of his mouth twitch in a way that is almost a smile. But it's with me that the change is most palpable. The space between us is shrinking. He seeks me out in the evenings. I will be reading in the library, and he will appear, a glass of whiskey in his hand, and sit in the armchair opposite me. We don't always talk. Sometimes we just sit in silence. The only sound the crackle of the fire and the turning of pages. But it's a comfortable silence, a shared solitude. One evening, a violent thunderstorm rolls in, a late autumn squall that rattles the windows and sends the children scurrying to my side. The power flickers, then dies, plunging the massive house into an abrupt, shocking darkness. Maya lets out a terrified wail. Liam, ever the brave one, just grips my hand tighter. It's okay, I say, my own heart hammering. It's just the storm. Before the last word is out of my mouth, the room is bathed in a soft, flickering glow. Leon is standing in the doorway of the library, holding an old-fashioned oil lamp. The golden light carves his face out of the shadows, making him look like a figure from another century. The generator should kick in momentarily, he says, his voice calm and reassuring. But this is more interesting, don't you think? He comes into the room and sets the lamp on the coffee table. He has another one in his other hand, which he places on the mantelpiece. The room is filled with a warm, dancing light that makes the shadows leap and sway. A long time ago, he says, his voice a low storyteller's rumble. Before electricity, this is how people lived. They would gather around the fire in the light of the lamps, and they would tell stories. He sits down on the floor, on the thick Persian rug in front of the fireplace, and pats the space beside him. Come, tell me a story, Liam. Liam looks at me, his eyes wide with uncertainty. I give him a small nod. Tentatively, he goes and sits beside Leon. Maya, her fear forgotten, quickly follows. I remain in the armchair, a spectator. Liam, who has been reading a book about Greek mythology, launches into a rambling but enthusiastic retelling of the story of Perseus and Medusa. Leon listens intently, asking questions, his face serious. He doesn't talk down to him. He talks to him as an equal, a fellow connoisseur of stories. When Liam is finished, Maya insists on telling a story of her own, a nonsensical tale about a princess who lives in a cloud and has a pet unicorn that eats rainbows. Leon listens to her with the same grave attention. Then, they both turn to me. "Your turn, Mommy," Maya says. I am at a loss. My life has not been one of fairy tales. But then I look at their expectant faces, bathed in the warm glow of the fire, and I remember a story my grandmother used to tell me, a simple Irish folk tale about a mischievous leprechaun. As I tell the story, I find myself relaxing, the words flowing easily. When I am done, the children turn to Leon. "Your turn, Leon the lion," Maya demands. Leon is silent for a moment, staring into the flames. The firelight flickers across his face, making his expression unreadable. "I don't know any stories," he says, his voice quiet. "Everyone knows a story," Liam insists. Leon looks at me, his gray eyes dark and troubled. In them, I see a flicker of something I have never seen before. Vulnerability, the lost boy behind the monster. "My father," he begins, his voice so low I have to strain to hear him, "was not a man who told stories. He was a man who made them. Usually, they were not happy ones." He pauses, and the silence is heavy with unspoken history. He was a hard man. He built an empire from nothing, and he expected me to be as hard as he was. Harder. He picks up a poker and prods the fire, sending a shower of sparks up the chimney. When I was 10, he took me to a dogfight. He wanted to make a man of me. He made me watch as two animals tore each other apart for the entertainment of a room full of monsters. I was sick for a week. He puts the poker down, his knuckles white. He told me that was the world. The strong devour the weak. That is the only rule, the only story that matters. He turns and looks at me, his gaze so intense it feels like a physical touch. He was wrong. The generator kicks in then, and the lights flicker back on, harsh and intrusive after the soft glow of the fire. The moment is broken. Leon stands up, his face once again an inscrutable mask. "It is past their bedtime," he says, his voice back to its usual neutral tone. I gather the children, who are now sleepy and subdued, and take them upstairs. But as I tuck them into bed, his words echo in my mind. He was wrong. Later that night, I can't sleep. The storm has passed, and a full moon hangs in the sky, bathing the room in a pale, silvery light. I get out of bed and go to the window. The door to my room opens. I don't have to turn around to know it's him. I can feel his presence, a subtle shift in the air. He comes to stand beside me at the window. We look out at the snow-covered garden, gleaming under the moonlight. "I shouldn't have said that," he says, his voice a low murmur. "In front of the children." "It's okay," I say. "They didn't understand." "But you did." It's a statement, not a question. "I understand that you were a little boy who was taught the wrong lessons," I say softly. He turns to face me. The moonlight streams through the window, illuminating one side of his face, leaving the other in shadow. He looks like two different men, the monster and the man. "Thank you," he says, and the words seem to cost him a great deal. "For what you did tonight, with the stories. It was nothing." "It was not nothing," he says, his voice intense. "You brought light into the darkness. You always do." He reaches out and gently touches my face, his fingers tracing the line of my jaw. His touch is hesitant, almost reverent. It sends a shiver through me, a strange mix of fear and desire. "Nora," he whispers, and my name on his lips is a prayer. He leans in, and I know he is going to kiss me, and I know, with a terrifying certainty, that I want him to. My heart is pounding, a frantic bird trapped in my chest. My mind is screaming at me to run, to push him away, to remember who he is, what he is. But my body betrays me. I lean into his touch, my eyes fluttering closed. His lips meet mine. The kiss is not what I expected. It's not hard or demanding or possessive. It's soft, tentative, questioning. It is the kiss of a man who is starving and has just been offered a feast. It is the kiss of a man who has forgotten what it feels like to touch and be touched. I kiss him back. I open my mouth to him, and the kiss deepens, becomes more urgent, more desperate. It is a torrent of all the unspoken things between us, all the fear and the loneliness and the longing. I wrap my arms around his neck, pulling him closer, wanting to erase the space between us. His arms go around my waist, lifting me up, pressing me against the cold glass of the window. He breaks the kiss, and we are both breathing heavily, our foreheads resting against each other. "This was not in the contract," I whisper, my voice shaky. "To hell with the contract," he growls, and then his mouth is on mine again, and this time there is no hesitation. This time, it is all fire and passion, a raw, desperate claiming. And I am lost, utterly and completely lost. In the aftermath of the kiss, the atmosphere in the house becomes charged with a new, unspoken tension. We are like two celestial bodies that have strayed from their orbits, now circling each other in a dangerous, unpredictable dance. We avoid touching, avoid being alone together, but the memory of the kiss hangs between us, a constant, palpable presence. The legitimate business venture Leon mentioned, the one that necessitated our arrangement, is moving forward. It involves a massive redevelopment project on the waterfront, a deal that will supposedly wash his money and his reputation clean. His traditional partners, a powerful Japanese consortium, are coming to Boston for a final meeting, and they want to meet the happy family. Leon informs me of this over dinner one night. "The Nakamuras will be here for the weekend," he says, his tone all business. "They will be staying with us. We will need to be convincing." The thought of performing for a house full of strangers, of playing the part of the happy fiancé under constant scrutiny, fills me with a cold dread. "What do you need me to do?" I ask, my voice flat. "You will be the perfect hostess," he says. "Gracious, elegant, devoted. Mrs. Croft will handle the details. You just need to smile and look pretty." The words are a dismissive pat on the head, and they sting. I am more than just a pretty face. But I bite back the retort. This is the deal I made. The Nakamuras arrive on a Friday afternoon. Mr. Nakamura is a small, elderly man with a serene smile and eyes as sharp as shards of glass. His wife is a graceful, silent woman who communicates mostly through polite nods and smiles. Their entourage includes their son, Kenji, a handsome, Western-educated young man who speaks perfect English, and a host of assistants. The weekend is a blur of polite conversation, formal meals, and carefully orchestrated family moments. I play my part. I am the gracious hostess, the doting mother, the adoring fiancé. I pour tea. I arrange flowers. I smile until my face aches. Leon is a master of deception. He is charming, attentive, the perfect family man. He laughs with the children, holds my hand, touches the small of my back. To anyone watching, we are the picture of domestic bliss. But I can feel the tension in his touch, the calculation behind his smiles. It is a flawless performance, and it makes me sick to my stomach. The only one who seems to see through the facade is Kenji, the son. He watches me with an unnerving intensity, his dark eyes missing nothing. During a tour of the garden, he manages to get me alone. "You are a very good actress, Mrs. Sullivan," he says, his voice a low murmur. "I'm not sure what you mean," I say, my heart starting to race. "I think you do," he says, his gaze unwavering. This is a beautiful cage, but it is a cage, nonetheless. He takes a step closer. My father is a man of honor. He believes in the sanctity of family. If he were to discover that this was all a sham, the deal would be off, and Mr. Voss would lose everything. Is this a threat or a warning? I am an unhappy man, Mrs. Sullivan, he continues, his voice confessional. Trapped in a life I did not choose. I see the same unhappiness in your eyes. If you ever need a friend, an ally, someone to help you escape. He lets the offer hang in the air, a tempting, dangerous lifeline. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Nakamura, I say, my voice colder than I intended. But I am perfectly happy. I turn and walk away, my heart pounding. His words have shaken me more than I want to admit. He has seen the truth, and if he has seen it, how long before his father does? That night, at the formal dinner, the tension is unbearable. I can feel Kenji's eyes on me, feel the weight of his unspoken offer. I can feel Leon's tension, the high stakes of this charade. During a lull in the conversation, Mr. Nakamura turns to Liam. And what do you want to be when you grow up, young man? He asks, his smile benevolent. Liam, who has been coached by Leon to be polite and respectful, answers promptly. I want to be strong and smart, like Leon, he says. A murmur of approval goes around the table. Leon beams, the proud father. It is the perfect answer. But then Mr. Nakamura turns to Maya. And you, little one? Maya, who has not been coached, who is too young to understand the art of deception, answers with the brutal honesty of a child. I want to be a princess, she says. But Mommy says we're not really a family. She says we're just pretending for the Japanese men. A deafening silence falls over the table. Every head turns to me. My face burns with shame and terror. I can't breathe. I can feel the deal, my life, my children's future, crumbling to dust around me. I look at Leon. His face is a mask of stone, but his eyes are glaciers. It is the coldest I have ever seen him. He is looking at me, and in his eyes, I see it. Betrayal. I have broken the most important rule. I have failed him, and I know, with a certainty that freezes my soul, that I will pay the price. The rest of the dinner is a nightmare. Leon, the consummate professional, somehow manages to smooth things over. He laughs it off as a child's fantasy, a misunderstanding. He tells a charming, self-deprecating story about the stress of the deal making him a stranger in his own home. The Nakamuras, masters of saving face, pretend to believe him. The conversation resumes, but the damage is done. The air is thick with suspicion. As soon as the guests have retired for the night, Leon turns to me. His face is a thundercloud, his eyes chips of ice. My office, now, he snarls. He turns and stalks away. I follow on trembling legs, my heart a leaden weight in my chest. Elena meets my eye in the hallway, her face pale with worry. She gives me a small, pitying shake of her head. I close the office door behind me. The click of the latch sounds like a gunshot. Leon is standing by the window, his back to me. The muscles in his shoulders are bunched, tight knots of fury. Leon, I am so sorry. I begin, my voice a choked whisper. I don't know why she said that. I was just trying to explain. You broke the rule. His voice is dangerously quiet, a low, lethal growl. He turns to face me. The rage in his eyes is terrifying. It is the cold, controlled fury of a man who is used to getting what he wants, a man who does not tolerate failure. There was one rule, Nora, one simple rule. You do not lie to me, but you also do not tell the truth to everyone else. You had one job, one simple job, and you couldn't even do that. It was a mistake, I plead. She's a child. She didn't understand. And you? He says, taking a step towards me. I instinctively step back. Did you understand? Did you understand what was at stake? This deal, this one deal, was my way out. My way out of the life my father built for me. My way into something legitimate. Something clean. He laughs, a harsh, bitter sound. And you, with your stupid, careless words, you may have just destroyed it all. I didn't mean to, I sob, tears streaming down my face. Please, Leon, I'm sorry. Sorry? He spits the word like it's poison. Sorry doesn't fix this. Do you have any idea what will happen if this deal falls through? The sharks will circle. My enemies, the ones who have been waiting for me to show a moment of weakness, they will come for me, and now they have a target. They have you, and they have your children. His words hit me like a physical blow. The truth of them is undeniable. My carelessness has not just endangered his business deal, it has endangered my children. I thought you could be trusted, he says, his voice dropping to a low, wounded whisper. He looks at me, and for the first time, I see not just anger, but a deep, profound hurt. I let you in. I let you into my home. I let you close. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture of pure frustration. What did you tell her, Nora? What exactly did you say to make her believe this was all a game? I try to remember. The conversation is a blur. I was trying to prepare her, trying to make her understand the need to be on her best behavior. I told her that we had to be a team, I whisper, that we had to show the visitors that we were a happy family, even if we were just practicing. Practicing, he repeats, his voice flat. He shakes his head in disbelief. You are a fool. He turns away from me, pacing the room like a caged tiger. I need to do damage control. I need to salvage this. He stops and turns back to me, his eyes hard as diamonds. You will stay in your room for the remainder of their visit. You are not to be seen. You are not to be heard. You are a ghost. Do you understand? I nod, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. Go, he says, his voice a dismissive whip crack. Get out of my sight. I flee. I run from his office, from his anger, from the wreckage I have created. I run up the stairs, past the worried face of Elena, and lock myself in my room. I collapse onto the bed and sob, great, racking sobs of guilt and fear. I have not only broken his trust, I have done something far worse. I have seen the man behind the monster, the vulnerable boy who wanted a way out, and I have handed his enemies the knife to stick in his back. The deal, the contract, our strange, fragile relationship. It's all shattered, and I have no one to blame but myself. The gilded cage has become a prison of my own making, and this time, I'm not sure there's a way out.